Here at the IDTechEx here in Berlin, and who are you?
I'm Andy Fuchs, and I'm running the Toyota representative office here in Berlin.
So Toyota is the number one for hybrid, right?
Well, I think with 8.7 million vehicles that we have on the road, it's difficult to not claim that we have quite a leadership position, as we already started 20 years ago when probably other OEMs had a slightly different perspective. But today, well, I think more and more companies join us, and I think this is the key important message, because we're all moving in the same direction to make mobility more sustainable.
And a bunch of companies, maybe also Toyota, doing electric, and then the next thing, is it fuel cell?
The next thing, probably not. It's already there. So we have both, because I think it's fair to say, due to the climate changes we all can witness and experience ourselves, we see there is a requirement to change. We started 20 years ago with our hybrid strategy, developing vehicles that already integrated batteries to lower emissions and reduce, obviously, then also consumption. We have now the widest range. And so we have purely battery electric vehicles, and now fuel cell in the market as well. Battery vehicles we didn't bring here to Europe because we see the market is still difficult, but on fuel cell we see a much bigger potential, as obviously here in an energy change that is happening, particularly in Germany, but in many other countries where renewables get a more important role. We see here that fuel cell vehicles will play a major function in being the first customer of these renewable energies stored in hydrogen.
Is the advantage of fuel cell hydrogen, is the advantage that you can have more range and you can refill very quickly, and you can produce it close to all the renewable close to the wind farm and close to the solar and everything, and then transport it over to all the...
You hit it on the nail on the head, so to say, because what the consumer today wants, and we have a more consumer-centric approach, he wants mobility. So, and fuel cell is offering exactly that. It gives you a 500-kilometer range. You have refueled the car within 3 minutes, so when you go on a trip or you have to travel longer distance, you don't have to wait for long recharging. And as you just mentioned as well, in the energy change, we will have already today a significant amount of wind parks where we can convert hydrogen into convert energy into green hydrogen and use this green hydrogen as a fuel for our vehicles. So in a way, if we put down silos and we break a little bit the traditional view on how energy was used, that it's only a petrol for vehicles and all that, there was other forms of energy for households, all this will come together much closer because it will be all electric, and the possibility we see is that hydrogen is playing a major role.
And is it easy to transport hydrogen around? Is it going to be a network? How long is it going to take to set it up? You just had a presentation. What were you talking about? Sorry, I asked so many things.
Well, in a way, we're only at the beginning. So by mid-end of this year, we expect about 50 hydrogen stations all over Germany, which will allow you already to travel from north to south, east to west, and all that. And the supply is obviously secured because there are investors like Linde, Air Liquide, Shell, Total, that from the infrastructure side, setting up all the functionalities that through trucking, because that's the most likely, but there's also on-site electrolyzers. We have in Hamburg, for example, stations where you produce your hydrogen on-site, because they see, for example, when on the energy market, electricity is cheap. They turn on the electrolyzer and produce hydrogen, green hydrogen, directly on-site. So there's a multitude of solutions currently correct, mostly is trucked in, but there's a distribution on national level, and the customer can be sure that he's not running out when he comes to the filling station.
So a truck will be able to have a lot of hydrogen inside?
Yes.
And that can fill up a whole station with enough for thousands of cars to go through and fill up and...
Well, so far we don't have the issue with thousands of cars because we're just at the beginning of a revolution, probably. As there are not too many cars currently that you can purchase. And obviously the market is only developing, but there is today already hydrogen in German market, be it side product or anyway through chemical industry available that could fuel more than 200,000 cars. Obviously, this is not the green one we want for the future, but all the possibilities are there. And as said, 200,000 cars could fuel without any problem.
And you're Toyota, but you're happy for all the other car companies. Is it going to be the same standard? Everybody's going to work in the same direction? All the cars are going to be compatible? And
this is correct. If you follow the discussions when it comes to, for example, battery electric mobility and just about the right plug and what direction to move forward, I think we had one big advantage here, because here industry already agreed on common standards. So be Toyota, Daimler, BMW, Honda, there is one standard when it comes to this technology and refueling and all that, and this on a global scale. So it's independent if the US, Japan, or Germany, you talk about the same technology.
And when you plug in to refuel, it's very safe? Like it locks in and just transfers in 3 minutes?
Safety is mandatory. We couldn't go to market if we would have any concerns or doubts on the area of safety. But these stations are in the city center, for example, of the German cities, and authorities would never give a permission if there would be any risk. And therefore, it's fair to say it's clean, because obviously there's no oil or anything you can spill. You connect it, and with 3 minutes, you have a fully filled car that is clean and safe.
And pretty soon we'll have affordable hydrogen fuel cell cars, mass production? How soon?
I think this is depending also a little bit developing of the market and how customers will pick up on that. If you look, I think we offer a car here in the German market for 66,000 euro, and if you look out on the market, competitive vehicles, standard vehicles are in the same price range. Okay, it's a mid-size limousine, and we are not totally out of proportion that people might think, oh my God, costs hundreds of thousands. You might ask for, because volumes are still small. We produced this year about 2,000, but in the coming years, economies of scale will get much more effect, and we see then probably in the years 2020-ish, 30,000 units, which further will help us to decrease prices.
And the price of hydrogen compared to gas? How is it going to be? Is it supposed to be cheaper eventually?
In Germany, obviously, it's a government-funded program, because government is helping still to set up the basics and develop all the technologies to make sure customers have a great experience. So we have a kind of a set price of €9.50 per kilo, which is comparable to about a normal gasoline car. So with €60, you fill your car and you can have a range of 500 kilometers. So it's not expensive. Obviously, where the price will go in the future is depending also on a little bit taxation, because currently it's not taxed, on how efficient and especially cost efficient we can produce green hydrogen. But the predictions are really that after a couple of years with all technologies where you lose money, you will come to a situation where this is really a business proposition for all involved in this business.
Is it possible that it will be a bunch cheaper than gas?
I think this is a little bit looking too much into the glass ball.
Yeah.
We have to see, because technology is making big progress, and this is also depending on the integration of renewable, how quick this is working. But everything is possible. Ingenuity is great, and we are only at the beginning. We see this technology as a technology that will really lead us for the next 100 years. And if you look back at the very first vehicle that was invented also here in Germany, and the first station there, which was a pharmacy, you don't want to compare the costs as well, and what a tremendous progress industry has made in these years. So I think there are lots of possibilities. There is engineering knowledge, and I think it just needs now to spark up and more people to get in to make it a sustainable business for the future.
And just one thing, is there a rule that all the hydrogen has to be totally from renewable source?
There is not a rule yet. Currently we have about 50% here in Germany, because obviously the cost for purely 100% renewable would be still high, and there's a lot of byproduct which we utilize. But the target, obviously, because we have all set and agreed the COP21 agreement in Paris, we have to reduce fossil fuels, and this is one path forward, and hydrogen is one of the solutions to help us in getting green mobility for the future.